everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so here is the long-awaited video, and I apologise for it taking a little longer than what it should have. It's been a pretty hectic time here at the moment. I'm getting set up for the Stereo Net Melbourne Hi-Fi show, which is on this Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So I have to travel about an hour each way to the show. So logistically, there's a fair bit going on to be able to make that happen. So it's just trying to get everything organised in, to be able to be there Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So that's going on, and also the major house renovations are still happening, and I'm still picking paint out from under my fingernails because I've been flat out today painting all the trim work around one of the bedrooms that the new bathroom adjoins to. So we've got guests coming overseas here in about probably 2 weeks from now. So it's a lot going on. So things have taken a bit of a back seat. In fact, I was having a bit of a look around in this room because I have not had my hi-fi system on for at least 4 days, and that's almost a record for me being here living in the house. That hardly ever happens. Normally it's on every day for at least an hour or two. But no, it's been sitting here cold as cold can be for the last 4 days because I've just been flat out unable to get anywhere near this room. But the video that I wanted to talk to you about today is to do with the Stack Audio Auva 100s, which I installed underneath my Wilson Watchdog subwoofer, my Series 2 subwoofer, passive subwoofer. And I wanted to talk to you about my final thoughts on what I was hearing, having the isolation underneath the subwoofer as opposed to the casters, which were what was under it prior to this. But before we get into that, we're going to reveal to you guys the results for the listening tests for the 3 tracks that I played as bass track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So here is the order, and this is what you were listening to. I want to just, before I even go into the results, I want to thank those of you who participated in commenting and taking this seriously. I haven't done one of these sort of blind testing listening tests for a while, and this could be a little bit interesting, being that it's a really lower octave articulation that we're talking about here. But I really wanted to try and see if I could get a good sound recording here in the room to give you an understanding of what let you into what it was, that a fraction of what it was that I was hearing here in the room. And I hope I was able to do that. You were able to distinguish, you guys, differences between, each of the 2 versions of each song. So I think I probably met the brief, but be sure to tell me if you've got any comments below this video. I'll be happy to hear from you. So for the first track that I played for you, the first version of that track, so bass test track 1, there were no Auva 100s in the under the subwoofer. So you were listening to that very first track on the casters. So that meant that the second version of track 1 of that first track, so test track 2, you had the Auva 100s underneath the subwoofer. So that was the first track. So on the second track, which was, let me just see what I've got written here. So test track 3, so number 3, the Auva 100s were in place on that track. And then the track 4, which was the same song, obviously, but the second time it was played, there were the subwoofer was on its casters. So that was track 2, which I think was Thanks to You by Boss Skaggs. Now, the last track I played for you Auva 100s were in place for test track 5. So that meant that you were listening to the subwoofer on the casters for test track 6. So that was what was going on in the room. That's what you guys were listening for, to see if you could hear the difference between the subwoofer having its isolation feed under it versus the Wilson casters. So now I want to talk to you about what I was hearing in the room, the differences between having them in and not having them in. So one of the things that I noticed first was that when I played any one of those 3 tracks, which are quite lower octave, pronounced, you really are getting a lot of lower octave information with those 3 tracks. But when I play those 3 tracks, when the subwoofer was on the casters, the floor was much more engaged. I could really hear resonances coming up through my feet in the floor, or through the floor. Now, I have a suspended timber floor with really good quality carpet and got good quality underlay on a solid hardwood timber floor that is suspended on stumps. So it's obviously not ideal, but in an 80-year-old house, that's what was around at the time, and the character of this house I love, so I'm living with that. But just in saying that, it was very similar to what happened when I put the Auva 100s underneath the Stack Audio Auva 100s under the Wilsons behind me. Immediately the floor stopped being engaged. There was just no information that I was feeling through the soles of my feet. Same thing happened here with this subwoofer. It was almost like took me back to when I had the spikes under the Wilsons, the Alexias. There was a real sense of floor engagement. Now, when I put the subwoofer on the Auva 100s, that stopped. It just stopped engaging the floor. Now, what I heard was much more detail and nuance in the lower octave. So what I was getting was certainly really super low detailed information. I was getting really lovely, very audible, very easy to hear tonal changes at 30, 40, 50 hertz. That sounded tight and good before, but I couldn't decipher the tonal differences. I could, but nowhere near as much as I can with the Stack Audio Auva 100s underneath the Wilson sub. It really, like the Alexias, it's a bloody game changer. The way it allows the resonances, especially of lower octave stuff, to just be cleaned up, and you actually are able to hear the frequencies, to hear that lower on that synthesizer stuff on that Bosgags track, that really low tail off on that synthesizer part of that track. You can really hear the change in tonality when it really drops down into that sort of 30 hertz range. You can really tell that there's a much more clearer focus on that lower octave articulation. Now, another thing that I think was coming through on the videos, and now I'll explain what I was hearing in the room. There was less bass. There was less engagement. So from your point of view, I think from what I know you were picking, you were saying, oh, there's more bass here. Well, more bass generally, I think, tended to mean that you were listening to the sub under the casters, because it was literally turning this space into a speaker chamber, essentially. So there was more of the bass, but the quality of the bass went to a new level altogether with the subwoofer underneath the Stack Audio Auva 100s. The quantity went down, but the quality went through the roof. It really went up, and furthermore, And the other thing that I've noticed about having the subwoofer in the room and having it set up properly is how that it helps with every frequency in this room. Well, put that on steroids once this thing's underneath those isolation feet, because it clears and cleans up any bloom in that lower frequency. So it allows all the mid-bass, mid-range and upper frequencies to just be able to get to your ears without having to fight that lower octave bloom that's in any room. If you don't have good isolation or you don't have good room acoustics or the right room. Now, I've got a big system in a relatively small room just outside of Nearfield. So I don't have a problem with that. My engineering days, that's exactly how I listen to music. It's how I engineered music. So I sit in that position because I'm comfortable in that position, and I can hear all the way into the music, and I can hear everything that's going on around me in that relatively close proximity. But one of the issues I've got in a room this size is that I can overpower it very easily with this big system. I can pressurize it very easily. And that's not pleasant to listen to, because what ends up happening is there's a blurring of everything when it gets too loud, when you've got no isolation under anything. Having the isolation, the Stack Audio Auva 100s underneath the Alexias and underneath the Watchdog subwoofer has allowed me to push that level that I listen to up higher and still keep that super clean, articulated presentation. And that's essentially due to good isolation. In fact, stunningly good isolation. These things are brilliant. They absolutely get a thumbs up from me again. If you've got a subwoofer, reach out to Josh at Stack Audio and order yourself a set of speaker isolation. They'll sell you a set of 4, either 50s, 70s or 100s, a set of 4 in a box to put underneath your sub. Or if you've got 2 subs, then you would buy a set of them. You won't be disappointed, I can assure you. That the cleaning up of everything across the soundstage was just magnificent. It was one of those moments where I kind of expected it, because I knew you saw the reaction video when I put them originally underneath the Alexias. I was stunned. There's no other word for it. I was stunned at just how much better those speakers were than even I thought they were, having the Stack Audio Auva 100s underneath them. But again, the same thing happened here with the subwoofer, but less of a oh wow moment for me, because I was kind of expecting it. And it did not disappoint, because what I got was that pure, clean quality of bass that I mean, I've had people come into my room and listen to it and they just go, like it's just outstanding. The quality and the punch. So it hits you and it stops, if that's what's there in the song. Or if there's a frequency roll in that lower octave, it's clear as clear to pick up that roll of frequency change in the lower octave. In most systems, it's a fat bloom. Not here. And it wasn't a fat bloom under the casters, because I've got really good room treatment in here, so I'm able to deal with a lot of that stuff. But it still wasn't as good as what it was when I put the Stack Audio Auva 100s underneath the sub. That changed everything, just like it did with these things behind me here. The Alexias went to a new level, and the sub bass in this room also now has gone to a new level. So that's the sort of detail that I was hearing. Just much more of the bass, but quality bass, not quantity. The quantity of the bass actually went down because it stopped engaging the room. But what I got was exactly what should be there, and no room interaction, no room, magnification, which is often the thing we fight as audiophiles in our rooms. So That's really the best way to describe that. The what I was hearing here in the room. They won't be coming out from underneath those that subwoofer. They are staying under there for sure. That is an absolute win for me, just like it was underneath the Alexias. And as I said, I've got Auva EQ's component isolation under every single component in my system. I am sold on this stuff. It works, and it doesn't just make a small difference. It makes a very, very audible difference to your system. And everybody I've spoken to that's listened to me talk about Stack Audio and then gone out and trusted my advice and tried them for themselves, no one's been disappointed. I haven't heard anybody tell me that that their system went backwards or it didn't improve. So Josh and Theo are absolutely onto something over there in the UK at Stack Audio. I am very, very much a converted person when it comes to this kind of thing. I just didn't realize that the sort of improvements you can get in even in a high-end system like this by isolating individual components on a very good rack even. So it really is a bit of a revelation. These last few months, getting the Stack Audio products over here and trying them has just been mind-bogglingly good. So absolute thumbs up from me. Do yourself a favor, reach out to Josh if you're interested in trying these, and have a crack at them, because I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. No one so far I know has been, and I'm sure if you are thinking or on the fence and deciding whether you should have a go or not, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I say give it a crack, see how you go. You might be very surprised that your system was better than you realized it was once it became independently isolated from its components. But certainly the main thing is getting those speakers isolated. Get them to stop engaging the floor. If you're on a suspended timber floor, it's almost a must. So thanks very much for watching. The next time I see you guys will be up at the Hi-Fi show on Friday. So I'm going to basically just record as I go and upload everything as I go. So you'll see things coming pretty much as I leave rooms, and I might do a sort of wrap up and a video dump at the end of each day as well, so that you can see what I've been up to. So I've got a really, really cool interview lined up with Rune Skov from Griffin Audio. He is the face behind Griffin Audio. Rune is a lovely guy. I've been chatting with him on via email from Denmark. Rune will be at the Hi-Fi show on the weekend, and he and I are going to sit down and we're going to have a little interview and have a chat about all things Griffin Audio and all things manner of things that he's getting up to with Griffin Audio and what's coming up in the future with the brand. So that will be an interesting interview. I like Rune a lot. I enjoy his presentations. I have shown a presentation that he did with AVDI in the Philippines on the channel a while back. Some excerpts from that. So yeah, great guy. Very, very nice to talk to via email, and he's looking forward to meeting me, and he's been following the channel, and I'm looking forward, obviously, to meet him. So that will be happening at the Hi-Fi show, amongst other things. So hang around, watch out over the weekend. There'll be lots coming from Melbourne from the Hi-Fi show. Until we talk again, it's bye for now.